It's a garden update, August 2nd, 2020. You can see everything is really filled in. The garden is just looking amazing. Very happy with how everything looks. Definitely overplanted in some areas, but lessons learned for next year. So go have a look at how things are doing on the trellises. So originally I had some peas on this trellis and now it's been replaced with some scarlet runner beans. And I also have some snake beans that I just planted here, and hopefully those will take off and come up the trellis. I'm gonna actually cut back a lot of this kale so that the runner beans have more light and hopefully will get big enough to start climbing, and then I'll have some beans for the fall. I also have a ton of the scarlet runner beans just running along the side of the little fence that I have here to keep out the critters. Bunches and bunches of collards and greens, bunches of cilantro, not cilantro, chard. Lots of chard. It's actually very hard to see because of all these collards. I'm gonna go in and cut back a lot of collards. But really the kind of crown jewel here is the Burgess buttercup squash that has just completely grown up and over the trellis. Really awesome, looking great. Got a bunch of squash here. Bunches and bunches. Here's a nice example of what these squash are gonna look like as they get bigger. Lots and lots of squash. Some of these I think are actually kind of interesting variations on the squash as a result of cross-pollination, because I also have a volunteer pumpkin that has also been growing up this trellis. So I think might have some little crossbreeds of butternut or buttercup and pumpkin. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. Here's the other side of that trellis, and you can see just how amazing that has all grown. Looking great. And then here we've got a bunch of corn. Corn has done incredibly well in the lasagna bed this year. It's my first time growing corn, and I think I'm gonna have some really nice ears here. I love how this is all looking. It's really happy stuff. Doing really well. Also got some more chard here. Doing really well. Things are nice and cleared out. I took out a zucchini. I've got a couple of zucchini plants in here. Took out one that was having a little bit of a wilt issue, and actually that has opened up the space quite a bit more for the other two zooks and for these nice nasturtiums and all this nice chard. Got to come in here and harvest a lot of stuff. Still have a little bit of wilt and a little bit of powdery mildew, but not too bad. Over in this bed, we've got some sunflowers that hopefully will be blooming soon. Got a bunch of lettuce here. Put in some cucumbers here, hoping that I would actually get a little bit of another cucumber crop. Haven't had much luck with my cucumbers this year, but we'll see. That's a pretty small seedling for this late in the season, but I have some really nice growth on that tomato there now that the peas are off this trellis. Bunch more collards. These are really looking fantastic. These are called Blue Beauty tomato. Very happy looking. And I also have another variety of winter squash here that's called what is it called? You know, I totally forgot. Not doing as hot. Just haven't had a whole lot of germination or pollination action on this. Looks like we've got one here that might have pollinated, so that's good. It'd be nice to pull that one off, which didn't pollinate, but it looks like we've got one squash here that actually did pollinate, so it's let's see, here's a nice female flower. If we're lucky, we might get another one off of that. It's just been slow to grow, this particular vine, so soil, big differences in the soil for sure. This is a new soil blend that I got, and I'm not as happy with it. I need to amend it pretty heavily, I think, for the fall. Tons and tons and tons of collards. I'm gonna come in and actually thin out, probably take out a few of these collards, because I just don't need this many collards, and they are blocking the sun for these are wing beans that I put in, and they just are not getting any sun. They're just hidden back there from these collards. You can see a bunch of carrots and things. So yeah, overplanted as usual. Lessons for next year. Over here we've got some sprawling kabocha squash that I put in a little bed. This bed also has some, these were actually suckers off of some tomatoes. I think they were sun gold tomatoes or some sort of cherry variety, so hopefully we'll get some cherries off of that. Gotta trellis those up. These kabocha are also not doing super hot. The bed is not deep enough. It's only a couple inches high, so, you know, another thing to learn. But I had the extra soil and I had these squash, so needed to get them in the ground somewhere. And we've got squash. We've got kabocha. Here's one. And got another one here. It's a little younger one. I think there's another one somewhere around here. Oh yeah, here we go. There's a nice big one right here. Looking good. So I think we'll get some squash. This one, you know, didn't pollinate as well, but you know, we'll get something off it. So that's how we're doing. Things are looking good. Lessons for next year.